never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts. You know the kind. Some poor bastard finds out his wife has been cheating, and suddenly his whole world crumbles. Yeah, that's me now. But my story? It's not your standard affair. It's worse. So much worse. My wife, Lauren, 34, and I, 36, have been married for 10 years. We met in college, hit it off instantly, and built what I thought was a solid, unshakable relationship. We had fun together. We traveled. We laughed. We had great nights, at least we used to. Lately, though, something had been off. Started small. The usual signs. New clothes she never used to wear. Taking longer to get ready when she went out with the girls. Laughing at her phone and tilting the screen away when I walked into the room. None of it screamed affair, but it planted a seed of doubt. Then there were the nights out. More and more frequently, Lauren would tell me she was going to wine nights with her friends. At first, I didn't think much of it. I even encouraged her to have time with her friends. But then, the stories she told started to get inconsistent. She'd say she was with her best friend Jenna, but Jenna's Instagram showed her at home watching Netflix. When I casually mentioned it, Lauren brushed it off. Oh, we went out earlier. She must have posted that later. It was a small lie, but it was a lie. And once I caught her in one, I started looking for more. I didn't want to be the paranoid husband. I really didn't, so I tried to let it go. But my gut wouldn't let me. Then one night she came home late. Really late. Like almost 3 a.m. She smelled like expensive perfume, but not the kind she wore. When I asked her about it, she gave me some half-assed excuse about being at a rooftop bar where a drunk girl spilled her drink on her. That was the moment I knew. Something was wrong. I didn't know what it was yet, but I was going to find out. After that night, I started paying more attention. Not in an obsessive, jealous way, at least that's what I told myself, but in a rational way. In a logical way. I checked our shared bank statements. Lauren never carried much cash, so most of her purchases went through her credit card. Usually it was the normal stuff: brunch spots, Target, Uber rides. But then I saw something odd. A charge for $250 at some place called Elysium. I didn't recognize the name, and when I looked it up, it wasn't a restaurant, bar, or store. It was a private members-only club. No description, no pictures, just a black and gold minimalist website that said, "Exclusive experiences for those who seek the extraordinary. Membership inquiries by referral only." What the hell was she doing there? I decided to casually bring it up. That night, over dinner, I played it cool. "Hey, babe, saw a charge from somewhere called Elysium. Is that a spa or something?" For half a goddamn second, I saw it. The flicker of panic in her eyes. It was quick, but it was there. Then, just as fast, she forced a laugh. "Oh, yeah, it's a new place, Jenna," and I checked out. Kind of a bougie wine lounge. Super overpriced, honestly. A lie? I don't know how I knew, but I knew. Still, I smiled and nodded. Let it go. Because now I had my first real lead. That night, while she was in the shower, I took her phone. I knew her passcode, it hadn't changed in years. I opened her texts. Nothing suspicious. Then I checked her emails. There it was. An email from Elysium Concierge. "Your upcoming experience is confirmed. Please arrive by 10:30 p.m. for entry. As always, discretion is our highest priority." My heart pounded. Upcoming experience? Discretion? I had no idea what I was about to uncover. But I knew one thing. I wasn't letting this go. Couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, my mind raced with questions. What the hell was Elysium? What kind of experience was Lauren involved in? And, most importantly, who was she experiencing it with? I needed answers. The next day, while Lauren was at work, I did what any rational man would do. I dug deeper. First, I tried logging into her email on my laptop, but she had two-factor authentication turned on. Smart. But not smart enough. I still had her phone. A minute later, I was in. I searched for anything related to Elysium, and what I found made my blood run cold. It wasn't just one email confirmation. There were dozens. Appointments, bookings, reminders, some dated as far back as 6 months ago. The descriptions were vague. Your private lounge is ready, specialty service confirmed. But one thing was clear. Lauren was a regular at this place. And then I found the worst email of them all. A receipt. Itemized. Private lounge rental $500. Premium experience package $1,200. Additional participant fee $300. What the fuck? Additional participant? My stomach twisted. I needed to see this place for myself. That night, I played the part of the clueless, trusting husband. Asked about her day. Kissed her goodnight. Waited until she was asleep. Then I took her phone again. I scrolled through her emails until I found what I needed. An old booking confirmation with a code at the bottom. Member access ID. LX 9472. Perfect. If Lauren thought she could keep her secret life hidden from me, she was about to learn just how wrong she was. Because I wasn't just going to catch her. I was going to destroy her. The next evening, I sat outside Elysium in my car, watching. From the outside, it looked unremarkable. Just a sleek, black building with no sign, no windows, nothing to indicate what went on inside. But the people arriving, they told a different story. Men in tailored suits. Women in designer dresses. Expensive cars pulling up. Passengers slipping out like they were walking into some kind of secret society. I wasn't dressed for this. My jeans and jacket weren't going to cut it. But I had Lauren's member access ID. I took a deep breath and walked toward the entrance. A man in a black suit stood by the door, earpiece in, hands folded in front of him. No signage, no menu, nothing. Just him. Good evening, I said, keeping my voice calm. I'm here for a private lounge reservation. Member ID LX 9472. His eyes flicked over me. For a second, I thought he'd call bullshit. But then he nodded and stepped aside. Welcome to Elysium, Mr. Sterling. Sterling. Lauren had used her maiden name. I clenched my jaw but said nothing. Instead, I walked inside and prepared myself for whatever the hell I was about to find. The interior was another world. Dim lighting, velvet walls, music playing at just the right volume, not too loud, but enough to make conversations feel private. People lounged on expensive furniture, sipping cocktails, laughing in hushed tones. It wasn't a nightclub. It wasn't a bar. It was something different. Right this way, a woman in an elegant black dress said, leading me down a hallway. Every step I took made my pulse hammer harder. Then she stopped at a door, swiped a keycard, and held it open. Your private lounge is ready. I stepped inside. And that's when I saw the truth. Lauren, wearing nothing but silk lingerie, kneeling on a couch, a blindfold over her eyes. And in front of her, a man I had never seen before, undoing his belt. I froze. My mind went blank. My body locked in place. Lauren, my wife, kneeling in front of some bastard, blindfolded, waiting like some obedient little plaything. The man, tall, well-dressed, late 40s, confident in a way that screamed money, had just finished unbuckling his belt when he noticed me. His eyebrows lifted. You're not the usual guy. Lauren's head turned slightly at the sound of his voice, but the blindfold stayed on. She murmured. The man smirked. Looks like we have an uninvited guest. Lauren frowned. What are you? I took a step forward. Take that fucking blindfold off. Her body stiffened. I saw it in slow motion, the hesitation, the confusion, and then, as her fingers tugged the blindfold away, the moment her entire soul shattered. Her eyes locked onto mine. Her face went pale. James? She whispered, her voice barely audible. She looked like she was going to throw up. Good. The man glanced between us, amused. So, I take it you two know each other. I ignored him. Every nerve in my body was focused on Lauren, waiting for whatever pathetic excuse she was about to try. She scrambled off the couch, grabbing at a robe. James, this isn't what it looks like. I laughed. A real sharp, broken laugh. Not what it looks like. Really? So what is it, Lauren? A fucking charity event? A Bible study? Tears welled in her eyes. The man sighed, clearly bored. Look, I don't do drama. If you two need to work something out, I'll find my entertainment elsewhere. He picked up his jacket, slipped it on like this was just another Tuesday night, and made his way to the door. As he passed me, he patted my shoulder. Patted my fucking shoulder. She's got good taste, he said. Maybe next time you and I should. I decked him. My fist crashed into his jaw so hard he stumbled backward, knocking over a table. Glass shattered. Gasps filled the room. The music outside kept playing, muffled, as if nothing had happened. The man groaned, holding his face, but I didn't care. I turned back to Lauren. She was trembling, her robe clutched to her chest, eyes wide with horror. James, she whispered. I stared at her for a long moment, letting the silence stretch between us, letting her feel what she had done. Then I turned and walked out. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember getting out of the car. All I remember is the rage. It burned through me like acid, eating away at every memory I'd ever had of Lauren. Every kiss, every whispered, I love you, every fucking anniversary. All of it was tainted. By the time I stepped into our house, I was running on autopilot. I grabbed a whiskey bottle from the cabinet, poured a glass with shaking hands, and downed it in one gulp. Then I sat in the dark, waiting for her. Took an hour before I heard the front door creak open. Soft footsteps, hesitant, careful. Then her voice. James? Silence. I heard her step further inside. Baby, I flicked on the lamp. She gasped. I must have looked like a fucking ghost. Sitting in the chair, glass in hand, eyes hollow. Sit, I said, voice flat. Lauren hesitated, her lips trembling. Then she sat. I studied her. The silk robe was gone. She had changed into a simple sweater and leggings, like she thought dressing normal would somehow erase what I'd seen. Pathetic. You're going to explain everything, I said. Right now. She swallowed. James, please, No, I slammed the glass on the table, making her flinch.
No excuses.
No lies. Tell me the truth. Her breath hitched. She looked down at her hands, fingers twisting together. Then finally she spoke. It started 6 months ago. I felt my stomach tighten. 6 months. I met someone. He introduced me to Elysium, she whispered. At first it was just curiosity. A game. Something exciting. But then, her voice cracked. I leaned forward. Then what, Lauren? She squeezed her eyes shut. Then I got addicted to it. Addicted. The word echoed in my skull. I thought I was ready for the truth. I was wrong. Addicted. I repeated, my voice eerily calm. Lauren nodded, eyes still squeezed shut. Like if she didn't look at me, it wouldn't be real. I wanted to rip the words out of her throat. Explain, I demanded. She swallowed hard. It wasn't supposed to be anything serious. It started with small things. Flirting, private lounges, just feeling wanted in a way I hadn't in a long time. My jaw clenched. Feeling wanted? You mean by strangers? She winced. James, it wasn't just sex. Don't you fucking say that, I growled. Don't try to dress this up. I saw you, Lauren. You were kneeling in front of that guy like a goddamn pet. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't give a shit. She wiped at her face, taking a shaky breath. It's not about love. It was never about replacing you. It was just an escape. I let out a sharp laugh. An escape from what? A husband who loved you? A home? A marriage? Explain it to me, Lauren, because I really want to understand why my wife was out there getting fucked by strangers while I was here, thinking we were happy. She started sobbing. I don't know, James. It was a fantasy, okay? A secret world where I wasn't just someone's wife. I felt powerful. Powerful. She felt powerful by degrading me. I sat back, staring at the woman I thought I knew. I had been so blind. So what now? I asked coldly. Was this just going to keep going? Were you ever going to tell me? Her sobs quieted. She looked down at her lap. I was going to stop, she whispered. After tonight. I exhaled slowly. After tonight? You mean after I caught you? She said nothing. I laughed again, shaking my head. I stood up. She flinched. James, I don't want to hear another word, I said. I know everything I need to know now. I turned and walked toward the bedroom. Lauren stayed on the couch, crying into her hands. She thought this was over. She thought she had gotten away with it. But she had no idea what was coming next. Because I wasn't just leaving her. I was about to ruin her. I barely slept that night. Lauren cried herself to sleep on the couch while I lay awake in our bed, staring at the ceiling, mind racing. Divorce wasn't enough. Not for this. She didn't just cheat. She humiliated me. She degraded me. Lied to me for months. Used our marriage as a safety net while she lived out her disgusting secret life. And she thought she could just cry her way out of it? No. I wasn't going to be another pathetic husband who just walked away. She took everything from me. Now I was going to take everything from her. The next morning I played it cool. I woke up, got dressed for work, walked into the kitchen like nothing had happened. Lauren sat at the counter, her face pale, eyes swollen from crying. She looked up at me, hopeful. James. I cut her off. We'll talk after work. She nodded quickly, like she actually believed there was a future where we could fix this. Good. I wanted her to feel safe. I wanted her to relax. Because the moment she let her guard down, that's when I'd strike. At work, I called my lawyer. Told him I wanted a divorce. A messy one. I want the house, the bank accounts, everything, I said. And I want proof of her infidelity. Something that'll hold up in court. Do you have any evidence? He asked. I smiled. I'm working on it. Next, I called an old friend, Ethan. Ethan was a private investigator. A damn good one. He helped a buddy of mine expose his cheating wife a few years ago. And let's just say, his methods weren't exactly legal. I told him everything. Ethan whistled.
Damn, man.
She really fucked you over. Yeah, I said. Which is why I need you to get inside Elysium. Find out everything. Who she's been with, how often, names. I want proof. Ethan chuckled. I like this side of you, James. Consider it done. I hung up, my heart pounding. By the time Lauren realized what was happening, it would be too late. She was about to lose everything. And the best part? She wouldn't even see it coming. That night, I came home to find Lauren trying way too hard. She had cooked dinner, set the table, even lit some candles like we were about to have some romantic date night. Pathetic. She thought she could fix this with steak and wine? I played along. I sat down, ate a few bites, let her think I was calming down. She kept sneaking glances at me, testing the waters. Finally, she broke the silence. James, she said softly. I know I hurt you. I know I fucked up. I kept chewing. Silent. She reached across the table, touching my hand. Please, she whispered. Just tell me what you're thinking. I looked up at her, and I smiled. Lauren, I said gently. I want to make this work. Her breath hitched. You do. Yeah, I nodded. But I need honesty. No more secrets. No more lies. She nodded frantically. Yes, I swear, James. I'll do anything to fix this. I squeezed her hand. Good. Because I need you to tell me everything about Elysium. Her face went white. She pulled her hand back, suddenly tense. James, I sighed, shaking my head. See? That's the problem. You say you'll do anything, but the moment I ask for the truth, I leaned back in my chair. You hesitate. I just what, Lauren? I snapped. What the fuck else are you hiding? Tears welled in her eyes. Nothing, I swear. Then prove it, I challenged. Tell me everything, every detail. She swallowed hard. And then she talked. It was worse than I imagined. She wasn't just cheating. She was part of a group. A secret society of wealthy men and women who indulged in power plays. Some nights she was just a spectator watching others. Some nights she participated. She told me things I never wanted to hear. How they had mentors and trainees. How she had been trained by another man to let go of her inhibitions. And the worst part? She liked it. I wanted to fucking vomit, but I kept my face neutral. When she finally finished, I exhaled and nodded. Thank you for telling me. She blinked, surprised. You're not mad? I shook my head. No, baby. I reached across the table, taking her hand again. I just needed to know the truth, I said. So I can forgive you. Her body sagged with relief. She had no idea. She had just given me everything I needed to bury her. Lauren thought she had won. That night, she curled up beside me in bed, clinging to me like a child, whispering apologies into my chest. I held her, let her believe I was softening, let her feel safe. She had no idea that I was wide awake, staring at the ceiling, already planning her destruction. The next morning, I put everything into motion. Step 1, exposing her. Ethan, my private investigator friend, had come through. He sent me an encrypted file packed with evidence. Photos, videos, transaction records. Lauren's name, her secret profile at Elysium, the list of men she had been with. I stared at the screen, scrolling through months of betrayal. Names, faces, bank statements. One name stood out. Daniel fucking Kingston, a high-powered attorney. Married. Kids. One of my clients. I laughed. This was too good. I sent Ethan a message. Find out if his wife knows. If not, she will soon. Step 2. Taking everything from her. Lauren had no idea that I had already met with my lawyer. That I was moving our assets out of our joint accounts. That I had already filed for divorce, with adultery cited as the primary reason. In our state, that meant she got nothing. Not the house. Not the savings. And thanks to Ethan's digging, I had proof that she spent money from our accounts to fund her secret life. Legally, that was fraud, which meant I could sue her ass into the ground. Step 3. The humiliation. Lauren hadn't just betrayed me. She had built an entire persona around Elysium. A secret life. A name. A reputation. And now, I was going to burn it to the ground. Ethan had managed to access their members-only message boards. And guess what? These people thrived on anonymity. If their names ever got out, their lives would be ruined. So I wrote a little message. Anonymously, of course. To all Elysium members, there's a rat among you. Someone who has been spilling secrets. Someone who has been gathering proof. Attached, you'll find the real identity of one of your most loyal members. Lauren Sterling. Consider this a warning. I attached everything. Photos, screenshots, proof that Lauren had been sloppy. Messages where she used our home address for discreet deliveries. Then, with a grin, I clicked send. By the time Lauren found out, it would be too late. Her world was about to collapse. And I was going to enjoy every second of it. Lauren was in the shower when the first call came. I stood in the kitchen, sipping my coffee, watching her phone buzz on the counter. Unknown number. Then another. And another. By the time she came out, towel wrapped around her, her phone was vibrating nonstop. She frowned, picking it up. What the? She answered. Silence. Then her face drained of color. She staggered back, hand shaking. What? No, that's not who sent? Another call. Another. Then a text. She opened it. Her own photos. Screenshots of her messages. Exposed. A strangled noise escaped her throat. James? She whispered, looking at me with wide, terrified eyes. I sipped my coffee. Something wrong, baby? Lauren's hands trembled as she scrolled through her phone. More messages. More calls. Panic spread across her face like wildfire. James, she choked. Someone leaked my private information. I raised an eyebrow. Private? You mean your secret whore life? She flinched. Please, you have to help me. These people, they're dangerous. I set my coffee down, leaned in close. You mean the same people you humiliated me for? The ones you threw our marriage away for? Tears streamed down her face. I didn't know this would happen. I smiled. That makes two of us. Then I stood up and walked away. Lauren followed me, panic in her eyes. James, please, we have to fix this. I grabbed my jacket. There's no we anymore, Lauren. She blinked. What? I pulled a folder from the counter and tossed it onto the table. She hesitated, then opened it. Divorce papers. Full asset separation. Proof of her infidelity. Evidence of her fraud. Her breath hitched. No, James, we can talk about this. I cut her off. You have 1 hour to pack a bag. After that, the locks are changed. Her face crumbled. You can't do this. I leaned in. I already did. Then I walked out the door. When I came back a few hours later, Lauren was gone. Her suitcase was missing. The key was on the counter. Good. I poured myself a drink, savoring the silence. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Ethan. Kingston's wife found out. Filed for divorce. His career is over. I smirked. Another one down. Then another message. Lauren's new friends? They're looking for her. And they're pissed. I took a slow sip of whiskey. Not my problem. Days passed. Silence. Then Lauren called. I let it ring. Then a text. Please. I have nowhere to go. They're after me. I need you. I chuckled. She burned our marriage to the ground. Sold her dignity for a cheap thrill. Thought she could crawl back when it all collapsed. I typed my response. Not my problem. Enjoy your new life. Blocked her number. Sat back. Took another sip of whiskey. Game over.